Hello there. It has been a while since I've posted any sort of long form video on the channel, or even just an installment to the introspective series that I've kind of got going. I'm sure that everyone knows what kind of videos these are by this point, but I personally just like to do them for the sake of my thoughts, just sharing my thoughts and stuff like that. And if you end up being entertained by them, even if it's just a little, then I see it as a win for the both of us. Now, without caring too much about the semantics, I would like to start off this video with a multitude of questions. And I think it would be pretty nice for y'all to share your replies in the comment section below. But of course, only if you want to. I'm not forcing anyone, of course. But I digress. We're all here for the sake of cultivating a calm, relaxing, and non-judgmental environment. At least, that's what I intend to be doing for this channel. Alright, how was your 2024? How did you think it went overall? What were some good parts and what were some of the bad ones? Did you feel like you learned anything new? Did you feel like that you may have matured as a person? Stuff like that. Share whatever you want, just do your thing, you know what I'm saying? Now, for me, 2024 was certainly a year of all time. I personally feel that I personally have matured a lot more in this year than I ever had so far in my life. Nothing grandeur or massive for that fact, just simply learning to be an adult and starting to actually kind of just get my life back on track after having it be lackluster, to say the least, in recent years. 2024 was definitely a year of constant reflection for me, reflecting on my past, righting wrongs, learning to be less angry and spiteful to myself, and just to others and the world in general, just learning to be less hater-ish because I personally have had mental health issues since I was like 13, right? And throughout my primary and secondary education was bullied on and off. All of this eventually culminated into me being provided antidepressants when I was 15, and everything certainly worsened during the height of the pandemic. If I were to make a draw on my life or a sort of like lore video on myself, then I think I could possibly go into further details of what life was like for me growing up, but I don't think we're at that point in time yet. I still have a lot more growing to do in my opinion, and quite frankly, I don't think I'm at a point in my life where I'm entirely fine with posting such a personal thing onto the internet. Also because I'm pretty sure that if we were to just go off of me speaking alone about my story, it would be like an hour long. But you'll never know. Maybe in the future. Alright, sorry for that downer. Let's now move on to something a little bit more positive. For one, I am proud to state that I have been consistently going to the gym for about a year and 6 months now. I have made some decent gains, I'm not gonna lie, but not as much in terms of muscle per se. There has been, of course, but more so in strength, because that's really my focus, Despite me saying it's been that long, I actually only started going to a legitimate actual gym around the end of my first year. So it's been about 6 months. For the entirety of my first year of working out, right? I actually did it completely at home, or at most my campus's gym. The reason why I didn't go to a legitimate one until recently was honestly because of self-doubt, with bits of fear sprinkled in, salt-based style. You know what I mean? I didn't know how to use any of the machines at the time and had only used adjustable dumbbells until that point in time. And overall, I just had a much worse self-image of myself. I definitely wasn't confident in my physical abilities back then. But I eventually decided that if I didn't take the leap of faith now, I would start to regret it more and more. And I did. So I decided to just say screw it one of these days and signed up for a gym near my house. It was at a mall. I've moved to another since then because this one is even more close closer to my house. But yeah, the entire thing really wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. And it's because of that leap of faith that I did, right? Where I've been able to progress much faster. Using adjustable dumbbells was not as cost efficient because they kept breaking and stuff. Because the higher and higher weights I went, the less amount of time I could carry. You know what I mean? Like it would get to a point where I'd be doing a 32 kilo dumbbell pressing, right? But I literally can't lift the weight after like 8 reps, so I'm just like, oh fuck, and it would take a lot of damage. The dumbbells, I mean. I didn't even have a genuine bench, like a gym bench. I literally did some DIY shit that, oh my god, I might put in the video, like I might send a pic, like just put it in the editing as I'm pretty sure I'm gonna put gameplay here, but whatever. Speaking of taking leaps of faith, I've been really wanting to battle my social anxiety this past year, 2024. It's just like because I sort of realized that it was less about me being incapable of social interaction, but more so about my past issues, right? And how it's affected me. More so about me getting into my head too much and stuff like that. So what I did was actually force myself to take units where I knew no one and simply just tried to make new friends or at least acquaintances from there. And despite it all, it actually has gone pretty well. Mostly because, again, it was a matter of the mind game and less so about my personal capabilities. So that's just something to keep note of, you know? You might simply just be thinking about it too much, overthinking and stuff. I am a chronic overthinker, so I understand what it's like. Another thing that I really reflected on was my identity. Who I was as a person, you know what I mean? Who did I want to be in the future? What sort of message would I want to provide to those that came after me? And how would I be able to contribute to society and stuff like that? You know, what kind of person do I want to be? Stuff like that, you know. For a bit of context, right? I am a psychology major, and I'm currently in the final year of my undergraduate studies. I'll hopefully eventually be trying my best to go for masters and maybe even be a certified mental health worker. I don't know whether it's being a clinical psychologist, counselor, therapist, or whatever, but as long as I'm able to help people, then I think that's a win in my book. Another thing that I have been battling with is the concept of instant gratification. And people, if you know, then you know. Learning to abstain and control my urges has been really, really beneficial for me, actually. Understanding why it needed to be done, how it could help me, and realizing that moderation is key was some of the things that have provided me with the solace needed and just motivation to continue in this like extra facet of life, I suppose. Not letting these sorts of like things control me and my emotions was what was right for me, I feel. And it genuinely was one of the bigger things that has contributed to my mental health in a positive way. Ever since I've kind of just learned to control my shit, I personally have been a lot more calculative, reasonable with my emotions, and just less grumpy, I feel. Less all over the place, and like less lethargic, right? That's not to say that I don't indulge in it, but I just simply make sure that I control it, and it doesn't control me. It is a fine line to discover about yourself, you know, learning about that balance, because it's different for everyone. But I felt that it was very much pivotal for me to gain back control of myself, and just me in general. I've also been learning to be a bit more stoic in the face of adversity. I'm not just talking about having zero emotions and alpha, like those edits you see on Shorts or TikTok. Oh my god. I mean just learning that in cases of crisis, right? The choice of not providing a reaction to the situation at hand could potentially be good for solving it. You know, just being like, I gotta lock in. That it's like that. You know, just learning to lock the fuck in and just be like, And just like, all right, what do I need to do in order to solve this? That sort of thing, you know? For me, I find that literally just reminding myself to chill my shit out each time something bad occurred has allowed for me to make less brash and reckless decisions, right? That is not to say don't show your emotions. Of course, we need to show our emotions. We need to convey our emotions because we're all human. You know what I mean? Not conveying how you feel and bottling it up typically is bad, and it results in adverse effects and a complete down spiral of your mental game. Don't if you can, just don't do it. You know what I mean? Don't completely go in one direction for a that's a reference, in one direction for a mentality. You know, don't be completely stoic, don't be completely emotional. You know, have a balance, have a nuanced and have critical thinking in mind for each situation you come across, because life, contrary to popular belief and on the internet, is not black and white. You know, for me, I personally am not one to go through life thinking that life is either this or it's that. You know what I mean? For me, I'm not the type to not accept any exceptions or have any nuance. You know what I mean? That's just not for me, right? A lot of things in life I feel are like on a spectrum, or more so just branching paths. You know, like looks like a family tree, like a bunch of just branching. I don't know what the fuck it's called, but just a bunch of paths that branch with each other, like a timeline, something that intermingle and have an effect on each other. You know what I mean? That's how I think life is. And finding and navigating your way through on how to interact with that and how to find your method of dealing with it, that at least has been really good for me. Another thing that I've been navigating is love. Ooh, finding love and finding someone who's, in my opinion, right for me. I personally have been privy to so many stories of relationships that are dysfunctional or lackluster in the eyes of the couple themselves. Like, they tell me this sort of stuff, you know what I mean? Because this is a bit of a hot take, I think, but I feel like some people constantly rush in and not really take the time to truly find a person that's right for them. And don't get me wrong, I definitely have been guilty of this. You know, I've definitely wanted to rush things in time, but now I don't know, I have to physically stop myself again. It's like, yo, hero, chill, brother. You gotta chill your shit, dog. Like, this girl's fine and beautiful as hell, but you gotta understand that she could be a python underneath that beauty. That sort of stuff, you know what I mean? I'm sorry, I had to. But I do genuinely feel that some rush in, also with the added like caveat of not having maxed out their own, this sounds like RPG, of not having maxed out their personality or like aspirations and stuff like that. Like, they're not even level 50, and they're trying to do something that a level 90 is supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, if you like, people who continuously do that, like, it eventually comes back to bite them. Honestly, I've been privy to that as well, like just seeing that in person, because a relationship is not all sunshine and rainbows, bro. You're committed to another living, breathing person, right? Ensuring that you guys are able to communicate, synergize, work cohesively, etc. is very, very important. At least in my opinion, right? What the fuck do I know? I'm just a 20-year-old, you know? Well, you fucking Gen Z, man. Like, you know what I mean? What do I know, right? But that's my opinion. This video is getting way too long, and there's so much more I want to talk about. But my bottom line for 2024 is that I feel that I'm certainly growing. I'm trying my darndest to just learn the vibe with myself, and eventually I hope that these efforts bear fruit. And even if it doesn't, this year, 2026 is a thing, so we got to keep moving forward no matter what. And we'll get there in the end, I feel. Thanks for watching. And please like and subscribe, I guess. I don't know what else to say. Alright, bye-bye.